Good evening, all of you. I'm Sibi Ancil, working as a technology manager with H&R Block India Private Limited, headquartered in Kansas City, Missouri State. And we welcome you for the session on FinOps in Azure Cloud. Just a few minutes, I'll take you through our organization, the background of the organization, and then we will move on to the session. Okay. So H&R Block was founded in 1955 by two brothers having a single vision, right? And at the time when taxpayers were left to navigate or left with the complexity of filing their own taxes, Henry and Richard Bloch started offering the tax prep guidance. And this innovative service marked the beginning of the tax preparation industry and setting the foundation of our company values, which is like putting the people first, understanding their requirements, and then supporting them. Now, as we move along, we improved or we grown and shown our global presence. We have offices in US as I mentioned, we started in 1955 in US itself, and then we expanded our operations to Canada, Australia. We have offices in India, Ireland, and franchise locations spread across multiple countries like UK, Germany, Japan, and obviously in Korea and Italy as well. And we have, when we talk about the India office, we support two service channels. One is the business side of it, and which is business office was started in 2012, and this is located in Hyderabad. And to support the technology part of it, now we started a global technology center in 2017 in Trivandrum in our Technopark. And currently we have 3 facilities in Technopark, having a headcount of 1,000 plus as of now. Moving on, so definitely, we are a great place to. Sorry, oops, slide. Sorry. Okay, so we are a great place to work certified organization, and having certified for the last 3 consecutive years in different categories, and being in the top 10 of the best place to work for women associates in India, and featuring in the top 25 best IT places in IT workplaces in India in this year as well. So, and this is definitely the testimony of our exceptional people first culture and the experience we give to our people. And I'm definitely proud to be part of one of the best workplaces in India. Okay, now let's talk about the session right now. So it gives me even pleasure to welcome you all to the session, which is organized by Kerala IT Parks, which is a Government of Kerala initiative that provides quality infrastructure space at various strategic locations spread across the state. Thank you, Kerala IT Park, for giving us this opportunity to share our learnings with a broader audience. Along with me, we have Syam Sasipillai, Associate Architect in Cloud Technology. He's a seasoned professional with experience over a decade on multiple domains in IT industry. And he will definitely take us through the various challenges we face in the public cloud cost management, the different operating models, and about the cloud FinOps and different operating models of cloud FinOps, and our learnings based on the implementations or the implementations we have done within our organization. And over the course of this session, we will try to break some of the myths about FinOps. People often say that it is a buzzword, and it is just for cost saving, or it is just the FinOps team is responsible for enabling FinOps. And sometimes people say that, okay, FinOps team definitely stifles the innovation, or some people say that it is just another form of data analysis. So we will just try to break that myth during the course of this session. And I hope all of you can find something tangibly useful from this session and understand the approach on the cloud financial management. And obviously, while the session is on, please feel free to shoot your questions through chat. We will definitely have it addressed during the Q&A session. Now, another point is, people might be thinking, why we have a lot of new things or a new technology like metaverse and all in coming up. So why did we choose FinOps? Definitely, there is definite reason for it, right? So we understood the benefit of having FinOps as a discipline, as a practice in our organization. You won't believe, with FinOps practice, we were able to reduce our monthly spend, our cloud spend, from 1.7 million to 1.4 million. This is as per the data we took a couple of months back. That's September 2022. And we definitely want all the entrepreneurs, the managers, or the stakeholders, the architects, the leads, the cloud engineers, the software engineers to understand the benefit of FinOps practice and the value it provides. So over to you, Syam.
Thank you, Sibi. Let me share my screen. So, Sibi, today we are talking about various areas in cloud FinOps. So, in the agenda, we start with challenges of public cloud cost management. Then we came to what is FinOps and what are the goals of FinOps, what is the best practices of FinOps in your organization, and different operating models in FinOps. And we end up the session with the innovative ideas that we implemented in H&R Block for various cost optimization methodologies. So first of all, we start with a question. You can think about this question: is it relevant for your organization? The question is, are you focusing on cloud-based as much as you do on cloud investments? So this is a problem statement, and we are trying to give the solution for this question on the entire session. So without further ado, we are moving into the first agenda, that is challenges of public cloud cost management. So we all know that in the traditional method, again, I missed that slide once again. I am showing that slide again. The question is, are you focusing on cloud-based as much as you do on cloud investment? So we will trying to cover the solution for this question on the entire session. And moving on to the challenges of current public cloud cost management. We all know that in the traditional on-prem servers, there is no decentralized cost happening in the traditional on-prem servers. That means we are purchasing the server. There is a procurement team already there. So they will manage all the purchase and billing part. And that will be a static cost. There won't be any dynamic cost in between happening in the traditional model. But when we are all moving into the cloud part, cloud is always known for elasticity. And it spend also going in dynamic way. So different application teams are purchasing the resources without informing to the finance team, so that the cost will be in a decentralized method. And the wastage of cost due to our provision is almost 30 to 50% in every year. And the most challenging part is the FinOps financial team as well as the cloud engineering team need to be working cross-functional team, but they don't understand their language each other. Finance team will be difficult to understand the engineering terms, and engineering team will be difficult to understand the finance area. So we need to fill the gap with cloud FinOps. So there are many myths, as Sibi mentioned. There are many myths. When we start a cloud FinOps team in H&R Block, the initial stages we had many myths, like it's a single team or it's a tool that can able to save the cost. But later on, we found that it's not a dependency for a single team. It's the whole organization need to be there for enabling finance in our organization. So it's a cultural discipline, and everyone in the company or in everyone in the organization should be responsible for making your cost saving efforts. So as a definition, FinOps is an evolving cloud financial management discipline and cultural practice that enable organization to get maximum business value by helping engineering, finance, and business team to collaborate on data-driven decisions, spending decisions. So in a nutshell, we can able to say that DevOps is a combination of developers and operational team, and finance is the combination of that DevOps team plus finance team. And this collaboration can able to achieve the cost balance, quality in order to gain cost efficiency, and that saved cost can be able to use for reinvesting in future funding. So this is a simple definition about FinOps. We will get into more in the coming slides. So basically, FinOps is like DevOps. It follows most of the DevOps culture, and it having a feedback as well as iterating methodology. So FinOps have three phases. First is inform phase. We can compare it, or we can, the similar method is data analysis. Think about data analysis. Whatever we gather the information, we analyze in the inform session and understand the cloud cost bills. And from the inform session, we will move to optimize phase, where we will set the goals for the bills as well as create multiple strategies to optimize the cost in optimize phase. And the third and last phase is operate phase, where whatever we earn or gain from inform and optimize stage, we will execute that in the operate phase. So we will see each session, and we will see many ideas from each phases in cloud FinOps model. So coming into our best practices and implementation, as well as innovation ideas that implemented in H&R Block, we would like to share that thoughts as well as ideas to the entire community. It might be most of the companies or most of the organization might be already adopted these techniques, but even though it will be helpful for the startup and other organizations. So in the inform session, basically we are collecting information, understanding the cloud bills. So most important thing is we need to visualize the data. The data need to be most understandable form so that we can take a decision. So we created a management information system for cloud for identifying various visualized things that can able to make a decision from the top management. So we use Power BI reports for various cloud management information systems that can give a message, or that can easily understand, analyze that where the cost, where the spending is happening, and can able to identify which resource is spending more. And we can easily identify, we can easily take decisions from cloud management. And the second point, scorecard. About scorecard, we categorize the application in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, or multiple tiers, and each tier will assign with a scorecard. So the budget is also limited respective to the scorecard. That means tier 1 application will have a budget more than tier 2 applications. So thus we can able to control the cost by assigning budget to the multiple applications. And budget forecasting. So forecasting is forecasting the budget from the data we taken from 1 or 2 days of consumption of the cost in cloud. So that's we done through an automation. We forecast the cost. That means we predict the cost in the 30th day or the last day of the month from the spending from the first or second day. Then we regularly monitor and re-architecture the application, as well as we work on reducing costs, how we can able to reduce the cost through re-architecturing or implementing new methodologies, code optimization. We normally architecturing the best practices for reducing the cost in architecture itself, initial architecture itself. And on previews, technical previews, we normally identify the new releases from the cloud provider. Say an example, ACE v3 was one of the latest release from Microsoft as a general preview, general available, and it was previously previous state. We done all the researches on previous stage and identified that it is more cost efficient than the previous version, that is ACE v2. So we implemented that in the new releases or new applications, whatever in the H&R Block. And visualization on budget versus consumption report, the sixth idea. That means all the managers or top leaders can able to identify or can understand their current budget, as well as how much they consumed from a Power BI report or a visualization data dashboard, so that they can identify the current spending and able to control the cost or able to control the consumption from that budget versus consumption report. And it make more easier for managers and top leaders to control their costs or identify their areas of improvement in the cost or budgeting. Seventh point in the inform session, in the architecture itself, we always enable right sizes of resources. That means if I only need a 2-core VM, 2-core virtual machine, I only go for that. And if it only I need 4-core VM or I need more utilization, then I resize for that and I make it 4-core. Until then, my cost, the cloud provider, I only need to pay 2-core VM cost to the cloud provider. Thus, we can able to save the cost. And lastly, we identified the resource utilizations, and we will send this resource utilization report to the application team, so that they can able to identify what are the underutilized resource in their project and able to act on that. If they want to resize it, they want to terminate it, and those decisions can be able to taken from the resource utilization report. These are few innovation ideas that we done in the inform phase. Moving to optimize, we took many strategies. We set many goals for controlling the cost. So first of all, we took infrastructure as a model, infrastructure as a code model. That means we take Terraform as a infrastructure as a code, and we define the Terraform with respect to the best practices available in the industries. And through the Terraform, we standardize the onboarding processes and policies, so that wastage can be able to minimize through Terraform scripting. And we also enable the sharing of resources. Say an example, we have log analytics or build a service which is no need for all the applications. That means no need for a dedicated applications. We can centralize those resources, or we can share those resources, and multiple application can able to take benefit from that or can use those resources in a sharing model. Thus, we can able to control the cost. Enabling hybrid benefit is one another option in most of the cloud providers. So the hybrid benefits in Azure Cloud enables you 30% cost saving on VMs, especially on licensing part, on VM as well as SQL servers. And reservation is another benefit from the cloud provider. That means if my application is not seasonal, if my app, one day I want a server or on some resource type which need to be run longer time, that means 1 year or 3 year, I can able to reserve those instances and can save up to 72% of that normal cost of that resources. So reservation is one of the best option for all of the organizations, and you need to talk or we need to work with the cloud partner to enable the reservation. Backup and retention policy is another option where we can back up the server, back up the storages, and in H&R Block we have multiple backup policies available. Like for production and non-prod, it is separate configuration. For production, we make more retention days, but in lower environment like development, QA, or LNP, we are going with a lower retention days. In production, it goes with a higher, and lower environments, it goes with a normal or below 7 days. Policy assignment, we have a well-defined policy assignments on test and sandbox environments where there is a control on deploying the premium resources, accident deployment of premium resources in the lower environment. If it is needed, we exclude that, but normally it is not allowed in the lower environment. And unused resource alerting is another option that we alert all the unused or idle resources running more than X days, X number of days. Normally it will be 14 days in our case. So these are a few other strategies we took in the optimize phase. Coming to operate phase, where this is the area where we implement whatever we taken from inform as well as optimize phase. So all the strategy, all the analysis where get executed in this operate phase. So first, most of these ideas are we converted into automation. So first automation or first innovation idea is orphan resource termination. That is, we create many resources, especially on VMs, we create only VM, but there are dependent resources are there. But we never thought about or never thought the cost about those dependent resources. We deploy VM and we delete whenever it needed, but that dependent resource will not get deleted even after you delete the VM. So we create automations for identifying the unattached dependent resources and delete if it is not attached to the parent resources. And second automation idea or innovation idea is VM snoozing, that we have a schedule snoozing. We have a custom built schedule snoozing available in the H&R Block, and this enable you to start and stop your VM if it is not using, or in a scheduled basis it will get start and stop. And next idea is on database export and import. So we have almost 400 plus applications in cloud, and some of the application 100 plus applications are seasonal basis and with lower priority applications. Though those applications, the lower environment databases are migrated to or export to a storage account with lesser cost, and whenever the development needed, then only it might be the development might be seasonal of 1 month or 2 months. If it is idle, then we will export to the storage account and import back whenever the development starts. Thus, the database cost will be 0 for the entire month or entire season. So that's also we made into different using automation. We made it happen, and a couple of seasonal based application running with 0 cost in databases. And we do regular cleanup of unnecessary resources in cloud, that we collaborate with application team and other teams to identify the resources are needed in their project. So coming to zonal redundancy, zonal redundancy is one option enabled or on option we are getting from the cloud provider. But in the lower environment, normally we are not enabling zonal redundancy. It's basically for a high availability of your system. In higher environment or production, we enable zonal redundancy for tier 1 applications. And the next point is spin up of lower environments whenever it needed. Like I'm not recommending for tier 1 applications, but if you have load and performance testing or some other lower environments for your application, then it's only needed whenever a load and performance testing happen. So we can create the Terraform code, or we can, using the help of any infrastructure as a code, we can able to spin up the resources whenever we need it and delete the entire resource using the same infrastructure as a code. And we can keep the LNP, or we keep the lower environment with zero cost. Whenever it needed, we can spin it up. And next one is automate scale down and scale up in lower environment on weekends. So normally in weekends, we will not have that much traffic, and most of the resources are sitting idle and with low traffic. So in those case, say an example, if one of my is having 10 instances with auto scaling or manual scaling, then we have automations written for manually scaling or automatically scaling down to 1, as well as whenever the week start or in the Monday, every Monday it will increase to 10 instances automatically. So we have we have that idea into automation. And last but not least, expiry resource termination is one other resource idea or automation that we implemented for, especially for VMs that are idle running for more than X days. That means in a testing environment, a VM, somebody created a VM and it's idle, or they completed their R&D or completed their testing. After that, the resource will be idle for a long time, but every hour it consuming cost. So in that case, we identified the performance of the system, like identify the utilization of the system. We gone through the events happening in the system, and with different condition, we will analyze that the system is idle. Then that system will get terminated through automate fashion. Hope we gone through many innovative ideas on automations in case of FinOps that we can use in the cloud. So we may majorly discussing the Azure, but the same can able to implement in all the cloud providers. The name change, instead of VM in Azure, there will be EC2 instance in AWS, and Google Engine will be, or Google App Engine will be there in the Google. So the name will change, but you can implement these ideas in your organization. And as a summary, hope you get understand about what is FinOps, how we can able to implement those things from these examples in inform, optimize, and operate phases. So it's all about a collaboration of different teams inside the organization. It's not only a single team that control the FinOps. So all the members in the organization should have an awareness about the cloud FinOps. When they are deploying a resource, they should aware about, is it necessary or it more over provision. They need to verify all those things. And this is not only for cost optimization, it enable you through best practices and how we can able to use the resources in a better manner. And thus, from all this optimization, we can use FinOps for enabling the future funding. Hope you get a good understanding about cloud FinOps and open for questions.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Syam, for detailing about the different phases of cloud FinOps or the financial financial management of the cloud cost. So, and I'm sure that you definitely mentioned about the importance of having the inform phase, which is actually very critical for getting to understand that, okay, how our organization or the organization's cloud spend is, how it is, how the data, how the resource utilization is, how the different resources are being provisioned, right? And whether it is actually needed or not. Those things are very important for us to plan the strategies and then execute it. And then for execution, we have you mentioned about the different tools which needs to be created. Obviously, the tools, we have tools available in the market, which is provided by the cloud, which is shared by the or given by the cloud providers. But when you talk about the cost of the license or the tool which we need to procure, it's huge. You have to put a lot of money on that particular tool. So uh, the effort the FinOps team needs to do is to continue to look for areas where you can identify. First is identification, second is strategizing it, and then third is how to ensure that we are able to execute those, right? So I think we have a couple of questions coming in.
Sivi, I also would like to share one success story, which is published in Microsoft Customer Stories in last year. So this is all about mentioning, Microsoft is mentioning about a couple of automations and ideas that we implemented in the FinOps area, and able to save almost 30% of cost saving from the current cloud running cost. And we would like to enroll all the other organization by enabling your FinOps strategies, so that you can also write your success stories in the Microsoft or AWS platform.
Okay, so we are getting some questions, so I'll start putting this through. Another question is that we talked about reservation. So is reservation an option for seasonal use during scaling up and scaling down during predicted high usage? So I believe the question is that whether reservation can be used considering or used for during a season or a peak period, right? Is what the question is.
So normally reservation is focusing on a long-term reservation of resources. That is minimal is 1 year. We need to have reserve that instance for, we can reserve instance, or for the all subscription we can able to reserve, but minimum term is 1 year. And we also have option to reserve that resource for 3 year also in terms of Azure Cloud.
Okay. Thanks, Syam. Okay, we talked about the tools, right? So is there the question is there any single product available for Cloud FinOps? I believe it is all about the tools which is needed for operate phase.
So as like DevOps or Azure DevOps, you might familiar about Azure DevOps. It is a single tool which integrated many areas of DevOps methodology, but we do not have a tool. Till now, we do not have a tool for FinOps, single tool. Active is available, but it is not covering all the areas of FinOps. There are multiple cloud cost management systems are there, but entire cloud FinOps, covering entire cloud FinOps is difficult, and till now there is no single tools available in the market.
Okay, thanks, Syam. We have a couple more questions in the section. Next question is, how will you forecast the budget for a new project in Azure?
So all the cloud providers, there will be a cost forecasting options are available through some pricing calculators. So this is a form for Azure pricing calculator where you can select the resources like I am a manager, and suppose I am a manager and I need to onboard a project with one virtual machine and one SQL server with one storage account. So I can select these resources and select all the specification available in the calculator, and we can, if we are going with the reservation, here you can able to mention 3-year or 1-year reservation. So you can able to see how much discount you will get for reservation, and it can enable hybrid benefit. If you are enabling hybrid benefit, your $67 will get to 0, and you can get a summary of all the cost, and you can see the upfront cost, estimated monthly cost, average estimated monthly cost from this Azure pricing calculator. This is a better tool you can use for forecasting your application budget. And the same tools are available, same kind of tools are available in AWS and Google. You can make use of that.
Okay. Thanks, Syam. So hope this is answered. The question is answered. Yeah, a few more questions had come in. Okay. The next is, can we implement the FinOps model in a running project, which the project is already live?
Yes. Architecture, and we can right size the resources. Like we can analyze the utilization of current projects. Like I have a 4-core VM, but it is only utilizing 2 core. Then I can able to resize to 2 core from 4 core to 2 core, so that thus we can able to reduce the cost. And other best practices also we can able to implement without affecting the performance and without affecting the system, production system. We can able to do that, but better we advise to do that in the initial stages of the, or whenever you are thinking about the architecture diagram at that, or writing the architecture diagram, the initial stage itself, we need to think about the cloud FinOps or cost optimization areas.
Okay, thank you, Syam. Hope that answered. The next question, it's again an anonymous question. The question is, what are the areas where we need to look for optimizing the cost? I think we already touched upon it, but then probably we can again reinstate what are the main architectural areas we need to look in order to optimize the cost.
So majorly the utilization. So right sizing of resource is an important role, plays an important role in FinOps. So whatever you needed, only deploy that. And wherever you can do automation, please do automate on that area, so that these are the major areas that we can look into the initial stage of architecture. Right sizing is the main.
Okay. One last question posted is, we talked about innovations and the tools and other things, right, which is needed for cloud FinOps. So I'm not sure whether I understood this question clearly. It is saying, does automation enable cloud FinOps? So probably I believe this can be tied to the question that, okay, whether automation, whether the FinOps team stifles the innovation, right? So probably is it probably that is what the question is all about.
So automation is a part of FinOps, but FinOps is also deals with other areas like cultural and collaborate and making a disciplinary action in the entire organization. So we can do multiple innovations. We can convert that innovation ideas to automation, but Cloud FinOps is also deals with multiple areas, multiple other areas, and making best practices in the cloud and disciplinary in deployments in cloud also include in the Cloud FinOps.
Okay, I'm again looking for more questions. As of now, I'm okay. Yeah, one of the question is, we talked about a lot of optimizations. You talked about resource, understanding the resource and reducing it, or making changes, reservations, and stuffs like that in as part of the operate phase, right? So how do these optimization? The question is, how do these optimization affect the performance of an application? Good question.
So normal organization goal is to, or the goal of a IT team is to make their application or website live and with most efficient. So when we are thinking about $10 million business, we will never think about a $10 savings. So whenever you implement a FinOps strategy, then try to make sure that the performance is not compromised for your system. But if you're over provisioned, then try to reduce without affecting your performance or efficiency of the system. It's a great question.
Thank you. The next question is that, what are the rules required for main stakeholders to implement FinOps within an organization?
It actually start from the top CEO. CEO can start this implementation or guide the top leaders and managers for and the entire organization for doing the optimized method of deployment resources in cloud, not only cloud, in any IT areas, IT deployments. So all the members, all the organizational members are included in the FinOps.
So basically, what you're saying is it's a top-down approach, wherein the vision should be from the top level, where we have to optimize the cost and then see how we can improve, right? And how we can reinvest that fund for the future.
It's a cultural practice we need to enable in every organization.
Okay, thank you. I hope, Swachand, I hope that answered you. And I have a question from Balakrishnan. The question is, what is the basis that we can estimate the average cost of a cloud project?
It depends on the resource what you are deploying for your application. It will vary with respect to the cloud provider, as well as it mainly depends on the resources and their tier, which tier you are using. That means premium, standard, or multiple SKUs are available. Which SKU or which tier you are using for that resource, that matters your cost. That means we can deploy a DB with $3 per month as well as $1,000 per month. It depends on the SKU what we are selecting.
Okay, so what you're referring to is you understand your requirement, and then based on that you provision your resources, right? And
Right.
then when you're using the calculator, you use the minimum to start with and then expand onwards.
Yeah, try it with dev. If your requirement expected or whatever requirement you need are expected in development configuration, then try to implement it in another environment. If it is not meeting, then try to expand the SKU size.
Thanks, Shyam. Balakrishnan, did that answer your question, or do you have? Yes, I guess he is happy with it. Okay, so now we have question from Agnes, and the question is, in what things a budgeting system automation must concentrate the most, and for budgeting, how the cost spent can be collected? Okay.
So there are multiple APIs provided by the cloud providers. In the case of cost management, we can utilize those APIs to collect the cost information for our resources, and we can feed this to a visualization tool like Power BI. Thus, we can able to understand the all picture about the cost spend on your environment.
Agnes, did that answer your question? You can message it on the chat if you're good. Okay, while we wait for Agnes to respond, the next question is, do we get any support from Microsoft team to analyze the utilization? Okay, before we go for that, Agnes requires more elaborate answers. So that means, probably you'll have to explain about, how when you are looking into what should we concentrate more from a budgeting perspective, and also how the cost spend, the spend can be collected. So probably we'll have to talk about more on the utilization, and then how the cost is calculated after when the spend is being analyzed.
So answering to Agnes' question, first of all, we can set a budget for all of your applications and identify the APIs from Microsoft or other cloud providers, and we can compare the consumption versus budget through visualization, as well as we can send alerts if the budget or if the consumption is exceeded a threshold value of your assigned budget. That is also can be able to automate. There are multiple ideas we can automate from budget versus consumptions. These are the two ideas which I can point out now. And you can also tie it with the utilization versus your resource consumption, and that is also can be able to make as an automation idea.
I hope that clarifies. There's a question from Shivashankar. He is asking that generally in live projects, the organization does the cost cutting already, right? Then how FinOps practices differ from the normal DevOps culture?
In normal DevOps culture, the definition itself, I said, it's a collaboration of multiple teams, especially the finance as well as the DevOps team. So we already have DevOps. So finance also need to include in the DevOps practices to identify their idea strategies that can able to implement in the cloud costing. So it differs from DevOps and FinOps.
Shiva, I hope that clarifies you. We have 5 more minutes, so we'll take probably one more question. I think there was a question about
I think
do we get any support from Microsoft to analyze the
There's a
utilization?
question about
so. The metrics of utilization metrics are directly available from the Azure portal or any other cloud provider portal, and we can understand the basic parameters like CPU, memory, or traffic, or output operations. All these metrics can be able to directly analyze from the Azure Blade itself, Azure alerts and metrics blade itself for all the resources. Uh, Along with that, we can analyze it from custom KQL queries. If we are passing that informations to the log analytics, we can able to collect a visualization metrics from log analytics queries. And if we are not getting proper, or if we have confusions in the utilization, obviously we can able to contact the cloud provider. That means we can able to, in this case, we can able to contact Microsoft for better utilization reports.
So in short, what we have done is, we have used the native solutions available to Microsoft, and then using the KQL queries, we have extracted the data and then put it in a presentable format in Power BI or different other reporting mechanisms so that we can understand and understand the data better,
okay, so
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it is not, I mean, yes, Microsoft team does provide certain input functionalities within Azure portal, but then it's up to our comfort, right? Whether we wanted to use that and then or use more or use the functionalities available that and then extract the data and present it in the way you wanted your stakeholders or your management team to see, right? So it's all about presenting the data and collecting the data in an efficient manner. I hope that answers as well. So now we have a couple more minutes, and I think that it will be difficult.
I think one question pinged to
One
me
question.
that uh, what are the resources considered for shared? So, so all the resources that cannot able to split, other than those resources, we can share all the resources. That means, uh, say example, log analytics, we can share for multiple applications. Build pool in a DevOps, uh, we can able to create multiple. We can create. We can use the same build pool for multiple applications. And service bus is another example. We can create only single service bus with multiple queues and topics for different applications. So it depends on your architecture design. If your uh, if your application demands for a shared architecture, then you can implement multiple resources in cloud, or you can use multiple resources in cloud for shared hub and spoke model.
Okay, great. I think we covered all the questions. Yeah, one more question is there. We have only 1 more minute. You wanted to quickly take that, Sham? It's like, how will you assign the scorecard to prioritize your applications? So quickly, 1 minute.
Uh, that depends on the business criticality. If an application is more critical, and if it is earning money for the organization, then it will come under tier one. And according to this category, we are implementing the scorecard, and that scorecard also limit the budget.
Okay, I think we were able to cover all the questions which came through. So thanks, Sham, for this wonderful session. And I hope all the attendees have been benefited from this. And if you have any more questions, you can reach out to us. We'll put in our email address on the chat. Thank you once again, Kerala IT Park, for organizing this session and giving us an opportunity to share our learnings. Have a great evening. Bye.